Hello to all. This is Alejandro Bratti from Believe in Yourself, Believe in Your Business, and welcome to the Spanglish World Networks on Single TV channel 250 and 251. Please remember to download both the Single TV app on the respective app stores on iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. The app is free and is available in Google Chrome, Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Roku, and all smart TVs. Today, I am honored to have Dr. Michelle with me. So I am really happy to have you here in the show. How are you today, Michelle?
I am wonderful and I am so happy to be here today.
No, this is like coincidence in the world, like works in a way that for me was like wow. Uh, we were talking yesterday with Michelle, and it was amazing. Like even all the people that we know, and it's like we are in the same uh, tribes and everything in the same path of growth. So it's amazing. So I am so glad to have you here in the program. I am sure that this is going to be amazing. So excited about this. So for everyone, thank you for being here with us. This program it's about our belief system, how that belief system help us to realize that we have so much potential, or sabotage us and we are not really growing because that belief system is keeping us like, okay, this is the safe space, this is the only space that you can move and you can do anything else. And suddenly the subconscious mind is helping you to stay in that situation just because those beliefs that you may have. And that's why I have this program to help people to start to get the awareness of, okay, Michelle is a doctor now. She has a doctorate. How she made that possible? Is that possible for me? When is possible? That is possible when I am 20, but maybe not when I am. So it's like a lot of things. So first, Michelle, I want to know what are you doing now? What are the all the amazingness that you're bringing to the world?
So glad that you asked. I've been on a mission, I should say, for many, many years to educate and inspire individuals to lead a happy, a healthy, and a productive life. And I have been studying personal development for many, many years. I started out back in the early 90s when I was tasked with the goal setting workshop. And when I did that workshop, I realized that it wasn't just enough to help people set goals. They needed to also focus on shifting their mindset, having a mindset shift. So then I developed a workshop to help people with their mindset and their psychology to complement the goal setting process. And ever since then, I've been on that track. Currently, I want to say that I am a brain health trainer. I am a happiness coach, and also I'm a elite neural encoding specialist. And what that means is that I really just help people train their brain for optimal health and happiness. And I help them to learn tools and techniques so that they can default to their best behavior. I'm a business owner and I am an author. So I do own several businesses with my husband. And then my book, I do have it handy, so I would like to show it to you. It's called Be Successful for Life: Elevate Your Thoughts, Words, Actions, and Results. And I wrote this book initially for my grandkids because I wanted them to hear my voice when they found themselves stuck. And then I said, so many people can benefit from my words in this book. And
Mm.
so I am just on a mission today, again, to help people live their best life. And I do that through coaching, and I love it. I just absolutely love being able to help individuals be all that they can be. Does that sound like the army? Be all you can
That
be.
is like wow. I want all of that. Everything that you are saying, that is amazing. So, and maybe like just you're going to see that I am with this curiosity all the time. So you're talking about being a coach of happiness. Like, okay, I can learn to be happy, or what is that process? Why coach of happiness? What is really what happens there?
So I'm so glad that you asked that question because What we know for sure is that there's so much going on in the world, all the chaos going on, people having mental health issues, so to speak. A lot of times it's really just brain health issues, not really mental health issues. And people are sad. And people believe that the way to cope is through external things, such
Mm,
as they need to get the next car or the next house or take the pill or do something externally to be happy. And what I teach is how to be happy from the inside out, that your happiness is not based on circumstances, it's not based on getting that next promotion, purchasing that next car, buying the bigger house, but you just being happy from within for no reason, no reason at all. And basically, I teach people how to develop new neural pathways in the brain for happiness because the research has revealed that we are not really wired for happiness. Our brain is wired for survival, and we have more negative thoughts than we do positive thoughts. And so it is a intentional, conscious effort to learn how to be happy from the inside out. So it's not an overnight process. It takes time because again, I'm teaching people how to build new neural pathways in the brain for happiness, and that comes with constant space repetition, teaching them exercises so that again they can default to their best behavior. And just for the sake of just giving you one technique for building new neural pathways in your brain. One technique is savoring the good. So I teach people how to savor the good. So when you see something good, and you can do it intentionally, not that you just see something good, you can practice this. When you see something good, you want to savor that moment for at least 20 to 30 seconds because it takes about 20 to 30 seconds for it to register in the brain. So, savoring the moment is one technique. And then I also teach people how to, when they have a negative thought, how to use a ratio to overcome the negative thought. So it's a 3-to-1 ratio. So for every negative that you have, you want to replace that with three positive thoughts or statements. And I'll give you an example. So last night, I really didn't want to cook, right? So I went into my head and I said, "Oh, I don't feel like cooking." Well, for me, that's negative because I love to cook for my family, for my husband. So I had to quickly, well, I chose to quickly default to no, I love cooking. I want to cook for my husband. I enjoy cooking for my husband. And I put love into preparing the meal. And so that was how I was able to overcome that negative thought. And that made me feel good. It released neurochemicals within my brain, and those neurochemicals catered to feeling appreciation, which is oxytocin, if you will, serotonin, and dopamine. And so I was able to put myself in a state where I was able to have that chemical cocktail and it made me feel good. I enjoyed cooking the meal, and that's how I became happier. And it was really, again, from the inside out. So I looked inward to find statements to help me overcome that negative thought. And outwardly, it caused me to feel happier. I was smiling. I put love into the meal, and it was tasty. The meal was good. So those are actually two. I said one, but those are two techniques: savoring the moment, letting it register for 20 to 30 seconds, and then being able to replace a negative thought with three positive thoughts.
so the savoring moment works when at what moment is the best time that I can apply one or the other? Like you gave the example for the second one, but for the first one, it's like okay, savoring the moment. But when, how I do it, how I am aware at that moment to take that decision to savor the moment.
Yes, so good. So For instance, when you get up in the morning and you see the sun shining, I love to practice gratitude. So I actually do a morning routine where I'm actually thankful for having a roof over my head. You can savor that. You know, you have that basic need met. I'm thankful that I can see you have that need met. So you're just savoring those moments that you appreciate the fact that you can do certain things. You have the movement of your limbs. And then another thing, when you go outside and you look at nature, you can be thankful for nature and you just take it in and, just do a deep breath, breathe in and then breathe out and just savor being able to go outdoors and have fresh air and see nature, hear birds chirping. And then when you recognize all that is goodness, then you just stop and you take it in and you just are mindful, like you talk about being aware, you're just mindful of your surroundings and you take the time to reflect on it and appreciate it. And so that's what I mean when I say savor the moments. And
Mm.
again, you can do it deliberately. So, like with my morning routine, it's a deliberate act. Or when you notice yourself, when you catch yourself noticing the good, then that can be a trigger to stop and savor that moment. So when you get a good laugh, like say if your kid is around and they do something sweet and you find that to be good, you want to stop and you want to savor that moment that you get that time to spend with your loved one. So did that help?
Yeah, I love that, and that starts to like, okay, let's start to understand. So for me, it's like, okay, Dr. Michelle, that is amazing, but that's because you are very successful and everything is good in your life and everything is working well. So, but not all the time was like that. Maybe if you can give us some example of where are you coming from and why you found like all of this, even the savoring the moment, it was something that maybe you were not doing in the past, and when you were maybe in a situation that was very difficult, how this change of mindset and this change of looking at the things uh, help you to improve and have a better life, not to say like, no, I have to make the dinner and it's the seventh time in this month and we are in the month the day 7 of the month, so it's like it's impossible, I need to do something else, I am not the maid doing the dinner every time, like, like, because at the end when we allow those thoughts to come, we continue and we start to go in that round of negativity that is worse every day.
You are so right. There was a period of time, and I will say that I still have times like that because our emotions go up and down based on life circumstances. And so I did make a practice or deliberate effort to be able to learn these skills so that I know how to manage my emotions. There was a time where I was really, really sad, and I did not know why I was sad. I had a great job. I had a wonderful family. I had my dream car. I had my beautiful home. I had all the trappings that one could ask for. I had designer clothes, and I just wasn't happy. And I didn't know why I wasn't happy. I didn't feel good in the inside, and I cried a lot. I found myself one day, my job was not too far from my parents' house, and I found myself in front of my parents' house one day, and I sat in my Mercedes Benz, my pretty Mercedes Benz. It was green, my color that I love, and I was dressed to the nines. And I sat in my car. I put my seat back so no one would see me, and I just cried my eyes out. And I just said, I know that it has to be more to life than this. And I was so sad and I just felt so empty in the inside. Again, looking from the outside in, you would think that I had everything. And I cried and I cried and I cried. And that day was a turning point for me. And I went on a quest to learn more about why I was feeling like that in the inside. personal development was a thing. I had already started doing some personal development, but I really delved into personal development at a different level. And so ever since that day, I've been on this quest to learn more and more and more. And then I found a certified happy for no reason program, if you will. And I joined that program really to learn true tools and techniques to have sustainable happiness, not just fleeting happiness, but happiness that I could truly say I'm happy from the inside out, no matter what's going on around me. And within these last few years, I want you to know life has been challenging. With COVID, it had so many blows. We had deaths in our family of our loved ones. I lost my
Mm.
bonus son. So many things happened over these last few years that really just felt like the bottom was just falling out. And I relied on these practices that I learned to help me get through the day to day activities. So I changed my self talk. My self talk was getting better over the years. However, I had to dig a little bit deeper
Mm.
because of the true life changing circumstances that hit my family. And I had to really dig deep. When I didn't want to get out of bed, talking to myself to say, this too shall pass. You can do it. Just get up one more day, keep moving your life forward. And that's what I did. I just really talked to myself in a positive, optimistic way to see that I had options. And because I've overcome tragedies in my life before, I was able to also lean on those times saying I got through it before and I can get through it again. And
Mm.
so, no, I haven't always been the happy camper. I understand a little bit more now about how our neurochemicals work and how they're not supposed to be on all the time, but through deliberate, intentional efforts, we can turn on those chemicals to help us feel better, to elevate our mood. We can do certain things to get out of a rut a little bit more quicker when we apply the tools and techniques that I teach people. So, again, it hasn't always been sunshine and roses, but I know how to now put myself in state so that I can feel better and I can see that I have more options because with more options you open yourself up to more choices, if you will. That's the best way I know how to say that. So I tend to be more optimistic. It's not so much about being so positive, but it's about being optimistic because with optimism, again, gives you more choices and options.
So, quick question. You let's go just in this time, and we're going to talk after that for the second part. But let's help us remember when you were like crying at that car where the turning point started to happen. Like you are crying in the car, you start to have like, okay, you realize that you have been sad for a while. You don't understand why you are in that situation, and you continue thinking like, okay, what else in life? What helped you in that moment to start to have the turning point? Because one thing is like, okay, I realize, but I don't know what to do. I don't know what to what help is going to work for me. If a coach, a book, a mentor, a TV station, I don't know what worked for you and how you started to change and started to, then we are going to talk about the habits. But I want to start just with the part where you were feeling all the feelings and not understanding what to do with that.
So, I made a decision. I made a decision that something needed to change in my life. So I took inventory and I decided, what did I want? And after I uncovered what I really truly wanted to have, I did want all the trappings. So I wanted to keep the house and the car and the clothes and all of that and the money. I wanted all of that. And at the same time, I wanted to feel whole in the inside. So I made the decision to do something about it. I made the decision to get a mentor. So I did have a mentor, and at that time we didn't necessarily call people a coach, but I will say that I had a couple of coaches around me that I just considered people helping me, that support system. And then I started reading more of the books. One book that blessed my life back then was As a Man Thinketh. And
Mm.
so, in reading that book, As a Man Thinketh, that helped me to start changing my thought process. And so, again, just that day, that turning point made me, number one, make a decision that something was going to change. And then number two, I determined what did I really want, and then I took inventory to determine what I needed at that particular time. And then I actually started taking the steps necessary to get the things that I felt like I needed internally so I could live from the inside out, from a soul based perspective, if you will, and meaning that I'm inwardly driven instead of outwardly motivated. And so that day was a critical period or a critical day in my life because it has brought me to the point where I found that I am so much more resilient and that I can bounce back more easily, I should say, from challenging situations. And so I hope that answer helped you. If you want me to clarify, I can definitely
Just the
clarify.
time that it took to you to come from that, like, okay, you realize, you have the awareness, like, okay, this is happening. Like, maybe how much time was before that that you didn't wasn't aware, but you were in that world of maybe living from the outside in, uh, and then you realize, and how much time again took for you to start to create I start to see like a life differently with other perspective.
Yes, so good, so good. So here's the thing about that. I don't quantify it for a time period, and the reason why I don't like to do that is because it's an ongoing process. So what I've been doing, it's been ongoing since that particular time. So it's a daily practice that I'm working on living from the inside out. And because this is what I do literally every single day. So I want to share this with you what I do. When I get up in the morning, I get up and I say it's going to be a great day. And why is it going to be a great day? It's because I'm going to look for everything that's great because we have this thing called the reticular activating system, which is our matchmaker in our brain. So when we tell ourselves something, that our brain goes to work sorting it out and looking for it on the subconscious level that you mentioned earlier. And then I go through a process where I say, I know that the universe and the Lord supports me. And so I want to live from the inside out. I open my heart. I operate from love, from joy, and I direct my energy where I'm going to put my energy, effort, and focus. And then I go through the process where I take 100% responsibility for my life. And that's the key right there. When you are no longer a victim of your circumstances and you become a victor. And that day when I was in that car crying, I made the decision to be a victor of my life. And I started the process. And it's an ongoing process, like I said. And then I go through the process of saying what I think is how I'm going to feel. And how I'm going to feel is going to dictate my choices. And my choices will dictate what I will do. And what I do is what I will end up having. And so, because it's been an ongoing process for me, because I'm all about a growth mindset, continuous growth. And before we were calling it a growth mindset, it's just continuous learning. And back then, so I will tell you this, when I sat in that car and I went through that period where I was just so inwardly sad and I did not know why. It was back in the 90s. So it was back in the 90s. So now we're here. So let's just say that was 1998. Let's say it was 1998. And we are now in 2024. And everything that I've learned, it's just been a culmination. It's just been building blocks. So everything I've been learning back then, everything that I learned back then, I should say, I just continue to build on it. So it's an ongoing process. So I would say to our viewers, when you learn skills, then you have to do things to maintain those skills. You want to keep it. So, if you don't use it, you lose it. So you want to incorporate it as a ongoing practice. And some things I am a unconscious competent because I just know when I talk about your default system, it's just in me. And so again, Alejandro, to say it took me, 6 months or a year or 2 years, I won't say that because it's been truly an ongoing process since that particular time.
Yeah, no, I was asking because at the end, when you are in the middle of that situation, you're feeling that it's forever, and it's more. That was the reason I was making the question. Like, okay, if I there is people that is listening to us, and maybe they are feeling like that, and they are in that process, like desperation because of anything, like anything that is happening in their life, but they are in that mood, in that consciousness at this moment. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, it's like there is right now we want to be those guides that are telling you this today can be your turning point, and it's like start to find like what are the things, like okay, a book was something that helped. In my case also started with a couple of books, but until I started to really find a coach that can help me to see the thing that I didn't want to see, because it was there but I didn't want to see them, and it's like and was pushing me like, okay, Alejandro, but look at this, you are telling me this, and I agree with you that continued to happen. Today I had a conversation with one of my coaches and was telling me, okay, this that you are telling me sounds like a code, and I was like, oh my god, it's a new code that I didn't know that has been there for years. But of course that's part of the process, but to give this uh, hope, I believe that if
Mhm.
you are living in this moment right now, something similar to what you are saying, Michelle, here, and you are being open and vulnerable, I am so thankful for that. If somebody is feeling like that, it's like, okay, there is hope. There is people like us that we want to help you. That's why we are doing this show. That's why we are working as coaches. That's why we are like looking for people to start to see the bright side of the world, not the dark side of the world. So that was the reason.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. That was so good. That was so well said. Absolutely having hope. I truly believe in hope because if you can have hope, if you are on your back, you can still look up and have hope and know that this too shall pass and it's just a temporary situation. If you hang in there long enough, you will get through it. You definitely will get on the other side. And I used to say many years ago before people started saying it, we think things are happening to us, but it's happening for us, and that you don't understand things while you're going through them. You've got to live life forward, but then you understand it backwards. And I think Steve Jobs was the one who said you can only connect the dots looking backwards, but you gotta live forward. So yeah, so just having hope and knowing that things will pass. And I like to also teach people, if you reflect on your past and some of the times where it just seems like you couldn't go on but you got through it, that's an indication that you can get through the next hurdle and the next, because we're always going to have something going on in our lives that we're going to have to navigate.
And something again, and I am loving like this part of the conversation, that I like to remember people is I like to live by law. And what I mean with that, there is a law, a universal law called the law of rhythm. And the law of
Yes.
rhythm is that everything can be high and low, and it's going to be moving. You are going to see, if you go to a beach, you're going to start to see that the ocean has a rhythm. And it's like, oh, the water is going out. No, the water is coming. No, the water is going. So at the end, that is happening. We have a sunlight in the morning, we have a moonlight in the at night. That's part of the rhythm. So the situation that we are going through are part of the rhythm that and there is another law that I love. And when you are in the low part of the that is like I don't see a way out. I am so stressed here. I don't like what that this. I don't know why I attracted this. Like, I don't know what you are thinking. But when you are in the low side, thinking also about the law of polarity is amazing because for every negative there is a positive. That means that if you're in a low side, it's because there is a high side, and you even when you don't see it, by law it exists. It doesn't matter that you see it or not. The reality is that it exists. So when you know that and you start to live by law, it's like you can be optimistic because it's like I don't understand how to be optimistic here, but by law there is a positive side of this situation that I'm living. So just to give some insights on this,
Yes, so good. So good. There's always another side to the coin. And if we can remember that, we'll be okay. Knowing that, again, this too shall pass. And I love the law of rhythm. You are so spot on. And polarity, when there's a up, there's a down. And I choose to focus on the up. And I love gratitude for that. So I just work on when I'm feeling really down is to think about all the things that I'm grateful for.
that's I believe for me there are two keys. For me, one of the keys is forgiveness, and a lot
Yes,
of the times is forgiving myself
yes,
first. I know that we need to forgive a lot of people, but I need to start with myself because it's like even that thing that that person did to me, I am not forgiving myself because why I accepted that, why I didn't say anything to him, like all the things that we can start to think about is like, okay, forgive yourself. Start to
yes,
live from that side, and that is going to start to elevate you and start to see the bright side. And the other one is what you are saying. Gratitude is key because, and something that like always say is have a journal and write even one or two things that you are grateful about that day. I am not saying write 2 hours all the things that happen in the day. That no, grab two or three things that you are happy about in that day, and that is going to start to develop this gratitude mindset that is going to start to there is a lot of things. It's not only the bad thing, there is a lot of good things. I
yes.
want to move to the next point with you because you were talking something very important in everything that you were saying is you created some habits that help you when you're in the low side, when you are seeing the things maybe in the negative side. How is that process of creating those habits for you? How, I know that you don't like the how long, but I'm going to ask you, at least in your mindset, how long has been for you to learn, discover new habits, start to apply them, start to make it happen every day. So how was that process of creating habits?
So good. So I love the question. Habit formation for me had been a real challenge for a while. And then I did learn about James Clear and his book Atomic Habits, and then also BJ Fogg, who his work is on tiny habits, and then keystone habits, all of that, tying it to a cue, so you can get your reward, all of that. And what I have found is using tiny habits is really more effective for me, and the
Mm,
tiny habit process is where you have an anchor moment. So you have an anchor moment, and let's just call that anchor moment X. And then you want to install a new habit, and we'll call the new habit Y. And then the behavior, well, what you want to stop, we'll call it Y. And then the behavior, and I'll get it right when I demonstrate it. And I may have to go back and go back to the X, Y, Z. And then the Z, oh, the Z is for celebrating. Okay. So for instance, when I talked about when I get out of the bed in the morning that I say it's going to be a great day, actually, I started that so that I could develop that particular habit. When I used to wake up in the morning, I had thoughts of, oh my goodness, I got to get out the bed. I'll hit the snooze alarm. I didn't want to get up. It was like, it was just a challenge for me to get out of bed. And I complained. I would hear myself in the morning, especially on Monday mornings. It's like, oh, I really don't want to get up and go to work. And so I found myself complaining. And I wanted to change that habit because I believe how you start your day is how your day is going to play out. And so I decided, okay, I want to start my day with a positive mind frame, if you will, or mindset. And so before I even get out of bed, I will pray. I will do my self talk in my head. And then when I get out of the bed and my feet hit the floor, then that's when I do today is going to be a great day. So the anchor moment for me is when my feet hit the floor, then that's when I say it's going to be a great day. And then I celebrate the fact that I said it's going to be a great day and I pat myself on the back because what that is doing, that's actually encoding your nervous system. So it encoded my nervous system. Now I've been doing this for a few years now. So this one particular deal here, it just didn't start. So it's just in me. Again, when I say that unconscious competence, you just get up and you just do it. I really don't have to think about it. But again, I tied it to something that I was doing. And then it made it easy for me to actually do it every single day. And that became, again, when my feet hit the floor, I will say it's going to be a great day. And then I celebrate myself. What happens? Your brain, it loves that dopamine hit. But dopamine is not meant to stay on all the time because dopamine is it hits your reward center and your pleasure center, and that's how some people can do things in an unhealthy manner because they want that dopamine spike. But if you do it in small doses and you know how to trigger that dopamine, it helps you to create a habit even more. So when you're working to create new habits, you must incorporate, and I say it this way because I found that it's the quickest way to install a new habit is you must install celebration with it. Any type of habit that you want to employ. And why you want to install that celebration piece is because you're wiring your nervous system to know that when you do that thing, it feels good and your body wants more of it. And so for me, using tiny habits for success, it has helped me with my success journey. I'll give you another example. So, because of one of the businesses that I own, it's actually in the state of Arizona, is where I reside. It's a third party motor vehicle. And every month I have to reconcile about 2,000 credit card statements or receipts for the state. And it is a tedious process. And so initially, I didn't like doing that, but it's something that has to be done every single month. So, what I do every time I complete one package, I get up, I scream, I say, "Yay!" I pat myself on the back, and it encourages me to go to the next package. And so now it has become a habit to where it's no big deal. I like to get it done because I know once I get it done, I can celebrate because I'm nearing the end of completing that month's paperwork and I made it out of a game. So it's been fun. And that's how you install new behaviors for success and for
Mm,
positivity. You want to anchor it to something you're already doing because when you anchor it to something that you're already doing, it makes it much more easier to incorporate it into your life. And I want to say a couple of more things about that. You do have to be consistent with it because that's how you build the habit through consistency, through that repetition, doing it over and over and over. And then when you do it in small increments, your body, you're not shocking yourself to where you feel overwhelmed with it. You're doing it in little increments. And so it's easier to install new behaviors because you're installing them, doing the tiniest habit that you need, the tiniest step, I should say, to make it a habit. And so that's the best way I know how to explain that. I know that it works for sure. And tiny habits, I have found, is the surest method to install new behaviors to help you be more successful in any area of your life.
I love that. So you were talking a couple of things that I want to maybe help people to understand better, because I know that we're in this world and I understand completely everything that you are saying, but maybe there is some people that is listening that is not completely in this world. So when you are talking about anchors, what is really an anchor, and like simple examples that I can start to use to start to understand, like, okay, now I understand what Michelle is saying about an anchor. Like, I know what can be a little anchor. That's one question. And the second one is about the celebration. Like, I understand that I need to celebrate when my boy is having a birthday. But how is this tiny habit and celebrations work? Like, I don't want to be celebrating too big. So I am just bringing some ideas of things that maybe part of the audience can be thinking, like, okay, it's like, okay, great celebration, but what is a celebration for a tiny habit? Something very little, how I celebrate that.
Yes. So, a couple of things for an anchor moment. An anchor moment is something that you already do. So, you get out of your bed every morning. Some people don't like to make their bed. So, if you can make your bed up in the morning, that is, if you can do that every morning, that's creating that habit of making sure that your bed is made up. So the anchor is when you get up in the morning, because you got to get up, so you're going to do that. Then the habit that you want to develop is making your bed every morning. So then when you get out the bed, you make up your bed, and then after you make up your bed, you can say good job, good job, you did it. It doesn't have to be something over the top for the celebration, but you want to acknowledge yourself for the positive action that you took and the new habit
Mm.
that you want to create. And when you make up your bed and then you celebrate yourself, fist pump, yes, I did it, or just pat on the back, or just high fiving yourself. Those are little small ways that you can celebrate, and it actually gets the dopamine to release. It's the chemical release, and you feel good about yourself that you did it, and it makes you want to do it the next day when you get out of bed. Okay, I did it yesterday, it felt good, I want to make my bed up again. So the anchor moment again is getting out of the bed, and then the habit is making up your bed, and then you celebrate that you made up your bed. Another anchor moment could be when you brush your teeth. What I do have is like post-it notes on my bathroom mirror. So when I brush my teeth, I'm looking at my positive notes, and I'm saying some of the things that are listed on my positive note. So the anchor moment again is brushing my teeth. I'm looking at my notes is the habit that I'm installing, because I want to say my positive mantra for the morning. And so it reminds me to say my positive mantra. And then after I say my positive mantra, then just give myself a high five, or give yourself a high five in the mirror. You did it. So again, the anchor moment, brushing your teeth, or the anchor activity is brushing your teeth. The habit is now you want to say your positive affirmations in the morning. And then after you do that, then you just give yourself a high five, which is the celebration to anchor in every morning when you brush your teeth. Then you're actually, after that, you're saying your positive mantras for the day, and then you're celebrating yourself. So, those are a couple ways that you can do it. And so, with that in mind, do you have any other questions you
No,
want to talk?
I love it, and it's incredible. But the time is flying. I am like, wow. At what time we started? But okay, let's know how people can connect with you, how they can know more about you. It's like, okay, this is awesome. Like, even these little things can make a big difference in my life. So how people can know more about you and connect with you.
Yes, absolutely. So I want to also encourage your viewers, our viewers today, to purchase my book, Be Successful for Life, Elevate Your Thoughts, Words, Actions, and Results. And if you just do a Google search on Dr. Michelle Odette Green, you will find me there. I am on Instagram as Dr. Michelle Odette. So all you have to do is put in Dr. Michelle Odette, just drop the green. On Facebook, I am Michelle Odette Green, and you can reach out to me through Messenger. I do have a email address. If you go on to, I have a website, it is successinactioninstitute.com. I know that's long, but again, it's successinactioninstitute.com. You can go onto that website. There's a contact button there. You can put your information there and send it to me, and I will be in contact with you. So there, those are the various ways that individuals can get in contact with me.
So really love it. I want to know, like, okay, if people is listening, like, okay, maybe I started the half of the show, I listened part, or I forgot a lot about what you said. What is one thing that you want them to remember? Like, okay, from everything that we said, this is what I want you to remember about the program, about their life, about their hope. What is exactly what they you want them to remember?
So, what I want you to remember is number one, in order for your life to get better, you have to take 100% responsibility for your life. You are in charge of your success, whatever success means to you. No one is responsible for doing the things that you need to do for yourself. So, you need to make that decision that you want to do more, have more, and be more, or just be more, do more, and have more, if you will. And then you got to invest. You got to take the time to invest your time, energy, and your resources in order to gain the skills, learn the tools and techniques so that you can be more successful. And then you got to commit to it. You got to be committed to being better. So, those are things that I really want the audience to know. Again, you are responsible for your life. And understand this as well, as you think. Definitely, you will have those feelings or emotions. And from there, you have to make choices. And I implore you to make right choices, whatever those right choices are for your life. Do those things that will support your growth, and know that if you do the work, you will be rewarded on the other side. It's like planting that seed. When you plant that seed, as long as you're doing the things necessary to water that seed, to nurture it, it will grow and it will bloom into its full potential. So that's it. I'm about to call you Eduardo. Alejandro, sorry for that.
No, no worries. So I really love your energy. I love, like, thank you for being here. It was amazing. I believe for me one of the biggest things that I am going to take is this part of the how the tiny habits that I develop even when I am feeling not that good, uh, or feeling good, are going to help me in the moments where not everything is clear, not everything is shiny, not everything is bright. So that is key, I believe, to really elevate our mindset, and we are responsible for that. So we can have our mind thinking about whatever it wants to think, but that doesn't mean that it's me. And that's something that I love about your conversation today. Like, start to look in the inside and start to know that there is somebody powerful inside you that wants you to succeed. Not only, it's not about anything that you have outside, but really start to connect with that inner power that you have. So it was really amazing.
Yes, so good, so good. I love you saying inner power, because that's it, our inner power, and taking our power back. Yes, oh, so good.
So thank you, Dr. Michelle. It was really amazing. I enjoy every minute, and I don't know at what time everything all the time happened, but it's time. So thank you everyone for being here with us. If you have any question, just leave a comment or reach directly Michelle. She's open to this, so I highly recommend you to have that conversation. This show can also be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for the news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and leave it. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you all. See you next week. Bye.